We got to break some walls. So we breaking some walls. You got to be ready. We're going to break some walls. We got to open. We got to go through that door. We got to open that door. We got to go through it, and probably we're going to find some stuff, nasty stuff sometimes,
Pretty much. Guaranteed.
There's going to be some nasty stuff, and it's okay. It might smell a little bit,
That's okay.
But that's okay. Get your gloves on, and you're not alone. You are not alone. Let's do this together, right? I'm going to carry the light, right? I'm going to lead the way, but follow me.
This is Awaken the Awesome, a podcast bringing a down-to-earth approach to personal growth. On this show, we're helping individuals just like you learn about tapping into their incredible potential through insightful interviews and inspiring lessons. Our mission is to encourage you to always keep pushing towards achieving your dreams and to stay awesome along the way. As a Caribbean man, I can tell you firsthand that there is a true effort happening as we speak to bring some necessary light to the serious needs of men in regards to their mental health. Men don't talk. When your cultural and societal upbringing has patiently designed you to keep things in for so long, is it really a surprise? But turns out men will talk to other men about man things. When I first joined a men's group some 2 or 3 years ago, I did not know what to expect. What I did find, though, was a group of peers, men, black men, fathers, mostly of Haitian descent, who took this confident and intimate step towards opening up to other men about the things that were on their mind. This is how I got the opportunity to meet and connect with today's guest, Coach Djimy Rouzard. As one of the group's main moderators, Coach D, as he's commonly known, has faithfully helmed our regular meeting sessions as both facilitator and mentor. Coach D is a personal trainer, speaker, certified life coach, and violence prevention specialist for at-risk youth. Coach D proudly integrates mindfulness into the multifaceted work he does with people of all ages. His unique approach can help deepen self-awareness, increase well-being, enhance performance, reinforce self-esteem, achieve goals, improve interpersonal relationships, and decrease stress. On this episode, Coach D shares his insights on the important milestones being set by men in our community as they demonstrate an increasing willingness to participate in these groups, how self-forgiveness is necessary, how men are more layered than they're given credit for, doing the work, and so much more. So let's get into this. Awaken the Awesome, episode 192 with Coach D, Djimy Rouzard. Here we go. It is a privilege, an honor, and a thrill to welcome you. I can't stress this enough, how I am always, and I really mean this, it is always a pleasure to connect with you, whether through WhatsApp, whether through Facebook, whether on a call, or our regular Zoom groups, because people need to hear this. How I connected with Coach D, Djimy, it's via mutual acquaintance, Inslee, and he invited me on the Neo Dads group for fathers, Montreal, black men, because it's very important as individuals, as men. I've become a lot more aware of men's work and the work that needs to be done, especially in our community, because as I like to say in many of my episodes regarding mental health and, just personal well-being, it's important that people in our community, my generation and others, either before us or upcoming, learn to talk. And groups like the dad group, Papa Impliqué, really, in the beginning, I didn't know what to expect, but it's also important as we step into life and we step into new circles. And I hope people will hear this. When you seek out like-minded individuals and you seek out causes and circumstances that matter to you, you need to open your heart and open your curiosity and, of course, come in with humility. And that's everything that you exemplify in your work and the way you reach out to members of the group on and offline, and your work as a youth advocate, as a community activist, as a very powerful and proud father, a presence both in the community, an example for us in the group, and the way you lead, the way you always come with a kind word, a group of support, even when you didn't even start the discussion, but you'll always jump on to leave a word of encouragement. It's always refreshing to connect with you, Djimy. So I want to celebrate you for the work that you do. All these examples that I put up and so many others that of course we can get into, but as a human being, as a fellow warrior, as a brother and a fellow king, I want to celebrate you and thank you for being on the podcast, brother. Welcome to the Awakening Yasin podcast. It is a privilege to have you on.
Well, thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. And wow, what a shower of of compliments.
But it's sincere. You know it.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm taking it all in. I'm taking it all in. And thank you very much. I must admit that you are someone also that I do respect a lot because of, I believe, your perspective, your curiosity, and constantly seeking perhaps some kind of evolution. You want to constantly evolve, constantly do better, so you can feel better at the end. There's a saying, I've been using this for some time now. It's about to do better, be better, so you can feel better later. So it's all about for the betterment of who we are, who you are. And I admire that from you, the fact that you're always seeking, for a better version, something else, something that's, you're constant. You're a very good student.
I'm a good listener.
You're a good,
appreciate it.
Good student, and we're all students. I'm a student of life as well. I'm a student of life. Life is the best school ever. Life is the best school ever. I was saying today, and I put a quote today on Facebook saying that, life is the best school, and there's different classes. However, you could only attend these classes only if you see with your heart. Your heart will direct you to the right classes at the right moment. And we all have different clocks, ticking. Okay, I have a clock, you got a clock. Everybody has a clock ticking. And sometimes it's not our time. It's not just my time.
Wow.
It's not my time to be in that class. It's not my time to be in Ansley's class, but we all want it. Sometimes we're rushing. We're looking, okay, yeah. I want this, but I can't. I don't know how. I don't understand. It is not your time. Give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance. And, and we're rushing. And I find that sometimes we're and it's not, no one is to blame. No one is to blame. Why I'm saying no one is to blame. I felt we've kind of have felt into some kind of a spiral. It's a spiral, and it's just like going faster and faster and faster. As you can see, technology is moving so fast.
The gift and the curse.
Exactly. So everything is moving faster and faster. So it's our duty to slow down. There's somebody that wants to, take your clock and just like slow it down. Slow down your clock, and take the time. Right now it's 3:00. Be in that moment. Be in that 3:00. Don't think, oh, I'm going to do this at 3:30, in your internal clock. I'm going to do this at 3:30. No. It's 3:00. What's happening at 3:00? This is, I don't know, you're studying, whatever you're doing.
Here. You're here right now. You're having breakfast, have the coffee. You're having an omelet, eat the omelet. It's like, no, but I got to get to work. Can you eat the omelet? Let's eat the omelet.
Exactly.
And I'm not sure if you see this in your work, both with your clients or even with your kids. I'm dealing with this from a father to another. I'm dealing with this with my 2 young kids. I deal with this all the time. Suppose they ask me, Daddy, can we go to the park? Okay, we'll go to the park. Get on the swing, get on the rides, not a problem. 15 minutes in, can we go rollerblading? But we just got to the park. They're swinging, and you're already asking, can we go rollerblading? It's like, but can you enjoy the park first? It's not that I'm impatient, but be in the moment. Is it a generational thing? Is it me? Is it them? Is like what is going on? Sometimes I go through this, and I want to get a little bit annoyed, but I realize that their reality is not mine. And what I'm trying to get to is, I hear you. And I understand that we have to come with humility in this path of service because you and I aim to serve. And how do we, in the position of helping each other grow, all right? You might be at a stage, all right? Whether, if we're going to take this weekend's workout, for example, I met up with the brothers, and obviously a lot of them are a lot more advanced than I am, physically speaking, because I only took up going back to the gym only a couple months ago. So obviously people can bench better than I can. Ansley can actually do this, and Mike can do that. And, so how do we retain this sense of humility? You talked about willing to learn, but also how
Mm-hmm.
do we, as in your position as a coach, always acknowledge the fact that, we shouldn't condemn other people for not being where we want them to be or where we wish them to be, because we're not dictators, we are guides. And how do you
Mm-hmm.
retain that sense of humility in your work?
Well, they say lead by example. And I not only, sometimes I feel like I'm becoming some kind of a magnet. And when I slow down, people slow down. When I slow down, life slows down. And everything around me slows down. So if we go back to your kid, and I found this very familiar as well, and there's this one thing that it appears to be sometime not, but a little bit more common, that ADHD labeling, I would say. And for some reason, and we're fast to go on medication, and okay, what's happening with our kids and what's
Scary.
going on? It's
Scary.
it's very scary. What's going on with our kids, and what is there, like you said, generational, or my take on this is that when I would say my father would tell me, okay, we got to do this. No, we got to do that. And I take her and I look at her and I says, let's enjoy this right now. Okay. And I try to connect with her, try to establish that connection. And it's something that we lack, that human connection, human touch, human feel. Holding her. Hey, we're not done. Let's enjoy it some more. Okay? Let's enjoy it some more. And I could see through her eyes that she sometimes kind of looked confused. It's like, no, this is what I want to do. This is, I've kind of switched the channel. My channel is switched, and I just take her back. Okay. So where were we?
Right.
Where were we? And often she would just go back and like, okay, all right.
Fine.
Fine, I'll do it. So that fine becomes, now she knows that basically, daddy. Okay, I'm not going to tell daddy because I know daddy's going to tell me it's not the time. Exactly. So she gets to know, and it forces her to slow down slowly by slowly. So for me, it's really and even with the brothers, is to not only communicate, but to connect with each other, to acknowledge also. I know that you want to go there, right? And I know that, yeah, it looks fun, etc. But no, this is it. I know that, you're perhaps a little bit more advanced, but unfortunately, this is where I'm at right now. And I think it's okay to connect with people, just to let them know exactly where you're at right now. What would you like to do right now? What's your position right now, what's your current state right now. We got to let people know, because sometimes people are so much in their bubbles. We created there's a lot of bubbles going around, everybody's in own little bubble, my own little mind. I can do this. I want to do this. And the world does not exist, or the world will revolves around me. And it's just to burst that little bubble. Hey, there's other people, and all of us, there's different channels of communication, different channels of connections, and that creates like wonderful energy.
Wow.
Wonderful energy. And if only we can connect. And I remember like talking with some of our brothers, and I was using some kind of a technique, and that was kind of discreet. And I've noticed it's very powerful. It's the power of touch. Sometimes it's about reaching out to someone, and before just talking is to just touch that person. You know how powerful hugs are.
Oh, yeah.
Touch is the same thing. A human touch.
Just a hand on someone's shoulder
makes a whole lot of difference.
Because I want people to visualize this. Suppose you're standing in front of someone you care about, and someone is sharing and, having an outpour of emotion, and you're like, I understand. But suppose you put your hand on their shoulder and say, I understand. That physical connection, as you said, makes a tremendous difference. I'm sorry I cut you off.
That's okay. But I do agree with you. I do agree. It makes not only a difference, but I feel at times it creates also I would say an exchange of, when we're talking about compassion, when we're talking about empathy, right? It's sending out also that message that I am with you. Not only I understand, but I am with you. I'm connected to you. And here I am.
See, that, because I can't tell you how refreshing it is to actually, hear that from you. An individual I have tremendous respect for, and why I want people to zero in on this, because again, you do speak with great, knowledge. There's a lot of expertise going there. There's a lot of trial and error going on there. And people need to understand that this does not happen by accident. You didn't just come into this, Coach D. And I'm really curious, was there ever a catalyst moment where I actually woke up, what? This is my purpose. This is my vision. This is how I wish to serve and give back, whether through brothers or to my community. Was there ever a defining moment where you said, this is the path that I will set for myself?
That is an excellent question. Love this question. This bringing me back into time. And as long as I could remember, my son was about, let me see, 6, 7. My son was about 6, 7. And he was labeled as ADHD.
Okay.
He was labeled as ADHD. And I kept on hearing left and right advices, what to do, what not to do. You're just not good enough. You're not strict enough. You're not a plethora of, I would say, not even constructive advices, but deconstructive advices. And at one point I sat down and I was saying to myself, my goodness, what am I doing wrong? What's happening? What is going wrong with me? And then I started thinking and I said, Djimy, you're human. You are just another human being doing what he can. And from there, I say, okay, what do you want to do with this kid? I want to raise another human being. I want him to be just a simple human being with strength, qualities, maybe sometimes weaknesses. He's going to have his personality, his character, you know. And it's just for me to accept that he is who he is. It is not my duty to change him into something that I want, because he's going to be the human being that he wants to be. I could guide him through. And from there, I said, in order for me to raise this human being, I have to bring myself back to what is a human being, what is to be. So I started this quest of understanding humanity.
Wow.
Humanity, understanding. So it was all about understanding what makes us, I would say, the souls with intelligence and capabilities, and so it was a huge quest, and it was a defining moment. All that moment about understanding humanity, understanding the human, I better understand who I was, and I was better accepting who I was, therefore accepting people around me, accepting my son as he is. Something phenomenal happened. Something very phenomenal happened. Is that by doing so, and I'm kind of being, I would say, vulnerable, or this is coming from my heart, but there was, I would say, a curtain of judgment that fell. Because we are, at times, very judgmental upon ourselves, then upon others. And that curtain just dropped, fell off. And it allowed me to see the beauty in everyone. That was amazing. Just to be able, it opens your eyes to see the beauty in everyone. And I recall visiting prisoners. People asking, why are you doing this? Like, these are gangsters, these are criminal, etc. I see a
social
human being.
outcasts.
Exactly. I see a human being. I see someone perhaps that was hurt, someone that was traumatized, someone that was crushed. That's what I see. And it's just to remove the layers and to go underneath.
And for those listening to us, because what you said is incredibly important. As human beings, as social beings, from my experience, we, by definition, through our need to socialize, we will group. And by grouping, how do we group? We compare who looks like me, who does not look like me, who lives in the same neighborhood, who's black, who's white, who's Asian. It's what we do naturally. If we're going to boil it down to whether our colleagues, like who do I like, who I don't like around the coffee table, who am I going to go to the gym with, who can I associate with? If we're going to go to friends, like I like him, but I don't like her. Or our kids, like, why can't you behave like? I'm sorry, all parents do it. It's like they see that kid. It's like, am I the only person who's raising an alien? But it's when you talk to other parents, you realize that, you know what? Kids are not so different. They have their quirks. They're a little bit more, some of them are wired differently. But down the line, what you said is incredibly important. It takes a lot of patience and a lot of accountability. I love that word. To admit your prejudices, to admit your shortcomings. Because if you don't understand your script, and that's why I want to double back just a little bit, not to gloss over that, because what you said is very important. If you don't understand your script, guys, if you don't understand how you see the world, you have no idea what type of glasses or goggles or mask you are imposing on someone else. I know some of us listening to this recording probably don't have kids, but maybe you have a relative, maybe you have a close friend. You are an influencer. I hate that word, but that's what it is. You are a source of influence to someone around you in any way, shape, or form. There's at least one person who looks to you as a comparison, as a source. So if you're not aware of the words that you put out, the vision that you have of the world, the attitude that you put to the world, the energy, I love that word as well, the energy you put out, as Coach D is saying, you can either create some amazing opportunities and some great relationships or bring a lot of toxicity and damage. And you need to be aware of that. How old is your son now?
Well, my son is 30.
Wow.
My son is 30 now.
That was a long journey, Coach.
It was a lovely and long
journey.
It was a lovely and long journey.
Wow.
And till this day, I say he was one of my best teachers. One of my best teachers. He's the one I really owe it to him about my level of patience. Today, I'm incredibly patient, but I owe it to him. He taught me how to be.
I was having a conversation with the boys over the workout, and just bringing it back to how important it is for conversations like this to happen, because unfortunately within our communities, of course, we can talk about cars, we can talk about compas, we can talk about food, we can talk about, stories from the motherland. But stories about, listen, I'm dealing with issues of mental health. Listen, my marriage is not so okay. Well, this separation was heavy on me, or the kids are heavy, or how can I break the scripts of trauma that I went through growing up? Those conversations are not being had. And my question, whether through Ainsley or Cluck, was asking, like, what's it going to take for us to, of course, it's happening within small little niche groups like ours. And of course, I know there are probably others going on. But what is it going to take? Because this is going to be a generational thing, whether through our grandfathers, our fathers. This is, I believe, the seeds that we are sowing. But whether through taking accountability for our health, which is what we're doing, or for our mental health, which is why these conversations need to happen, that we're having you and I right now. And I really want to thank you for being vulnerable, by the way. But what is it going to take for us to normalize it? Not just for men, but on a deeper level, Black men, and then on a deeper level, Haitian men. What is it going to take for us to stop feeling as if just saying, like, guys, I don't know what to do. Brothers, I'm at odds right now, because we would most rather choke on this trauma, because I can't go to my boys and say, like, I don't know how to handle these kids, or I don't know how I'm going to make next week's rent, or what's it going to take for us to feel comfortable to reach out to a brother and say, I need help? Why is it so hard, King?
Well, let me go back to what it's going to take. I'm going to try to break it down and try to remember, and perhaps you could we could circle back to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the more we have that open dialogue, the more that we have these conversations, but not only having these conversations, but it's once again to be the one, just be the one that talks about it. I'm someone that sometimes, could call upon, a brother and check on him and then share, and share things such as, my emotional state, how my weekend was, et cetera, just for him to understand that, hey, I'm okay with talking about it. So if ever, you feel you want to do so, that Jimmy doesn't judge, that Jimmy is totally comfortable around these subjects, so you can come to me. So I try as much as I can to just create the path, right? To create that path, to also maybe lead the way somehow. But we need to just constantly talk about it. We need to constantly, I would say, like you were saying, I like that word, normalize, but normalizing by, we could use it. So I use social medias and, and putting out there, things about mental health, things about, and it's just to put it out there. It's just to constantly put it out there. I think it's one of the ways to go about, but be that person, be the change that you want to see. Talk about it. Talk yourself, go out there, talk how you feel. If you have friends, share with them, but share your true self, share your true self. Don't share about, like you're saying, cars and yeah, it's nice, but share your true self. It reminds me of a good friend of mine. I had Black men, and we talk openly about everything. And I remember that we were getting so much criticism, judgment, but luckily enough, we were confident enough. And there's that confidence about, it's fine. It's okay. And it doesn't matter if I get judged. It doesn't matter if I get, at one point, basically, even women were, labeling us. Oh, well, these guys are very special. They talk and they couldn't believe what you're talking about. We were talking about taking care of, prostate cancer. What should we do? And, all that jazz and finances and talking about, life in general, and life has its up and downs and emotions and anger and joy and sadness. And we share sad moments. He's a buddy with whom I cried. And I would talk to fellow men and tell them, oh boy, I was talking to my friend and I was crying, and I could see the reactions like, you were crying. Whoa. Jimmy, come on. Whoa. Like, Jimmy, yes, boys, I was crying. And it's okay
to cry.
And it's okay to cry.
It's a natural function.
It's a natural function. But one thing that I noticed is that the minute that they realized that I was accountable, I was It was not something that, there was no shame into it. They didn't sense that shame, that self-doubt, but they felt, no, he's serious. No, he seems to be really comfortable and open to talk about it. Back then, they were calling me the pink man, the metrosexual man. I had labels.
Wow.
I had different labels, and I took pride in these labels. I said, this is who I am, and I love it. I love it. So just the fact that I love it, and to show that it didn't affect my manhood, didn't change my manhood, didn't make me any different, anything else. I was still the same Djimy. Still the same.
When you own your truth, when you own your truth and you celebrate the greatness that is you,
exactly,
you cannot be shaken off your pedestal. You are anchored in your own truth. And again, I'm just high-fiving you on this one because it takes a lot of self-awareness. That's the word that I was looking for. A lot of self-awareness to know yourself. And for a lot of people, that is hard because these words are thrown around a lot, especially right now. And let's admit that self-help has become the new buzzword. Last year was entrepreneurship. This year it's self-help. Everybody's a guru now, but these concepts are not new. All right. Back in the days of Napoleon Hill or Earl Nightingale before that, these concepts are not new. They're just being repackaged and repurposed and resold. But the basics are still there. You cannot give what you don't have. If I am not confident, strong, firm, and assertive within who I am, I'm only giving you fallacy. I'm only giving you hypocrisy. I know because I've been there for some time, for a long time. I was hiding my own depression. I was hiding my own darkness. I was hiding behind this smile. Now it's sincere. Now it's proud. Now it's glowing. But for a long time, I was giving the world what I wanted them to see or what I thought they needed, But all it takes is for one person to just throw a negative comment at you or just throw some snarky comment and you're shattered. And all it takes. But when you stand firmly and you are grounded into your own greatness, I'm going to say it again, guys, because these are not just words. As Djimy gives you as an example, you really need to know who you are. For some people, that's scary because they know they are a work in progress. They know they're not up to where they want to be. And if you can coach us on how do we forgive ourselves because I've had conversations like this where people are like, yeah, I hear you. Yes, I believe you, but I've got so much work to do. If we're taking a fitness example, I've got so much weight to lose. If we're taking a debt example, oh my God, I'm in so much debt. I'll never get over it. Yeah, I know I can. I know there's greatness in me. I know I'm smart, but I've lost so much time. I've gained so much weight. I've been such a bad parent, or I'm not the best example. Okay, learn to forgive yourself first, because if you don't get over that hump, we can't do this work. How do we learn to forgive ourselves in order to? I believe that's one of the biggest steps towards doing the work, but maybe I'm wrong. But how do we learn to forgive ourselves, Coach?
Let me take it back when people are seeing the big load. And I would say, people are looking at that big mountain. What I usually tell people is, there's a saying that says, keep your head straight. Look straight ahead, right? I don't want you to look up. Look straight, because you're looking up. Basically, you're looking at mountain. I want you to just look straight ahead and go step by step. So that's your path. So take it step by step. And, you're going to see some stop signs. And I want you to stop at every stop sign. Breathe in, breathe out. And celebrate what you've just done. we give ourselves so much to do, to accomplish. I got so much to change within myself. It's about just simply looking straight ahead. Don't look up. Look at that path. Enjoy that journey. It's, enjoy every single step of it. Take it step by step. I'm just going to probably share some maybe little stories or things that I do in a fitness environment, for instance, And I do a lot of mind shifting. So I shift the mind because people come and tell me, Jimmy, I want to lose that belly. There's so many, there's so much things to do, etc. So how I do it is that, we set little goals. And every time we attain that small goal, there's a huge celebration. There's a big celebration. And then I circle back with them. How do you feel? How do you feel? How does that make you feel? So it's just to bring them back upon, how do you, wow, that's amazing. I never thought I could, oh God, okay, it feels so good. And then, okay, we're looking up to the next one. So celebrating every little successes, every little accomplishment makes a whole difference. So basically, it's a constant celebration because you're always progressing, you're always advancing, you're always moving. You got to move forward. Now, forgiveness. That's a huge one. For me, forgiveness is also acceptance. It's about accepting. It's about also acknowledging. I remember acknowledging that I'm broken. I'm a broken man. And it's okay. And when people were asking me, I says, I'm in reconstruction mode. And that reconstruction mode consisted of just to better understand let me go deeper into this, was to understand how every thoughts that was implemented in my head, as we know in our community, we call our kids, ou pas faire ci, ou c'est ça, So all these words, basically, that came, these negative words, I was going deep down and trying to really find how did that word and thought, basically because it becomes a thought, how did that thought dictate my behavior? How did it affect my beliefs? How did it affect my emotions? So it's trying to pinpoint everything, try to see and question. I was questioning, Jimmy, why are you doing this? Why? What's the reason? What's the purpose? How does it benefit you? And just to understand that. So I was always saying, I'm trying to deconstruct myself right now. I'm trying to deconstruct myself. And then it was, okay, I'm reconstructing myself. But I had to break it down.
People don't understand. If you don't, you were a kid. Yes, you were raised. For those of us who had the privilege of having both their parents around or even one parent. But you were raised according to someone else's script. And that goes with both the good and the bad. They gave you the best they could with what they had.
Exactly.
Which is why when I look back and a couple of times where, I could look at my parents and like, wow, that was kind of harsh for a parent. I'm like, you don't know what they went through. You don't know what you did at the time. You don't know how it was perceived at the time. And if you check what you did now that you are a parent as well, you're not too sure if you'd react differently. So I come with a lot of humility right now when I talk to my parents, and I talk to them with a lot of love because I'm still privileged enough to still have them around. I click dad and there's somebody else on the other end of the line. I'm aware of that now. So I celebrate what you just said, because you know what? If we can't learn to deconstruct where we came from, we don't know how to reconstruct what it is we want to go. And that's what I'm hearing from you. You have to have the courage to blow it up, even. What is it that you want? Okay, I don't know. Okay, blow it up. Is what you're doing right now working? No, blow it up.
That's it.
Let's take it a piece at a time.
Exactly.
That's what I'm hearing.
Exactly. When I get to there's things that comes to mind, and working with kids and I always tell kids that I'm an architect. I says, you're an architect.
Wow.
He says, yeah, I'm an architect. I'm an architect of life. I says, oh, architect of life. Yeah, because I'm going to help you. We're currently building a house, right? I want that house to be hurricane proof. I want that house to be tornado proof. Wouldn't you want that? To have like that house that could, it's like, yeah, okay. So we're going to start with the foundations. We're going to start setting and laying down some solid foundations. Do you have a plan? No, I don't have a plan. Let's set a plan. That's where the work starts. That's where the work starts. So I tell them, like, I'm an architect, and it's like, an architect. Wow. It's like, but not the type of architect, So, but I like the words that you're using. Courage. Courage is huge. It takes courage. It takes courage to acknowledge. It takes courage to say that, you know what? I'm not perfect. I usually tell people, we're going to use what you have right now, where you are right now, to take you where you want to be. Okay. So, people sometimes, because we often want to relate to the past. Like, yeah, but I was. Now let's deal with who are you right now? Okay, we're going to break it down. We're going to try to find out. We're going to try to break it down exactly. And then from there, right? I don't know, when you're doing renovations, right? We're going to renovate this house, right? This house is probably built already. We're going to renovate this house. What do you got to do? You got to break some walls. You got to break some walls. We got to break some walls. So we're breaking some walls. You got to be ready. We're going to break some walls. We got to open. We got to go through that door. We got to open that door. We got to go through it, and probably we're going to find some stuff, nasty stuff sometimes,
Pretty much. Guaranteed.
There's going to be some nasty stuff, and it's okay. It might smell a little bit,
That's okay.
But that's okay. Get your gloves on, and you're not alone. You are not alone. Let's do this together, right? I'm going to carry the light. Right? I'm going to lead the way, but follow me. Follow me. Let's do this.
And it's very important that we don't fall into that trap, right? Because sometimes we want to help and we make the mistake that we take on the person's problem and we do not highlight the fact that they have to do the work. We fall into that trap. Often we want to help the person next to us, whether it's a relative, family member, a friend, a colleague, and in all our haste and caring and empathy of wanting to help and, just like, let's do this. And I got this great book and I know Coach G, let's get you a program and let's go down. So, no. And you realize that you're taking on the problem. And by doing that, you're even making the situation worse, because then they're going to feel guilty because they let you down and all that jazz. People need to understand that words have weight. Words have worth, but more importantly, words have meaning.
Meaning.
You need to be a guide.
Yes.
You're not here to do the job for them. I just want to stretch that because I believe that a lot of people, unfortunately, mistake your role as their coach. You know, you're not their nanny. I'm not putting food in your mouth. You know, you're a grown ass adult. Sorry for the expression, but you're a coach. You're there to guide. Here are the rules. Here are the parameters. Here's the way. Here's some light if you need it.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to walk for you.
No, you got to do it. You got to do it because through that process, there's an awakening. Through that process, there's a rebuild. Through that process, there's going to be some, I would say, for the lack of better words, through the process, there's an evolution through that process.
Yes.
I want you to feel it. You got to feel that, right? It's all about you feeling the change. It's not me. It's you. We're talking about you. So celebrate. Wow. And every wall that you break down, you put down, we're going to celebrate. We're going to make a huge party.
Every single step matters.
Every single step matters.
Wow.
Every single step matters. You know, it's the same. It's the same for kids, right? Sometimes kids, you know, when we're talking about positive reinforcement, focusing on the positive more than the negative. And once they do something negative, to make it meaningful, to make it something that they will remember, you know, you got to blow it out of proportion. You got to really go all out so they could really feel that this was key. This was so important. This brought pride. This brought that sense of accomplishment. And so celebration is huge. Is huge.
Man.
We don't do it enough. We don't
do it enough.
We don't celebrate enough. We don't celebrate enough.
We're really quick to bash on them when they do something wrong. But hey, Dad, I did this drawing for you today, or like, you know, we did a collage, or we did this, like, we're making a play, and we're gonna dance on the week at the end of the month. You're like, oh, okay, cool. But when they do something wrong, or like they drop a bowl or something and it breaks, like what? How could you possibly, like, you broke? Do you know how much that? We do that on kids. We do that with our colleagues. We do that with our relatives. Like, you know, we do that so often. And you realize that, listen, everything is about energy. Everything needs to be balanced out. That's what I'm hearing from you. You need to be able to offset that toxicity with a tremendous amount of positivity, because they need to hear it. They need to hear it. Coach, I want to respect your time. And as always, it's always the thing that happens with these conversations is I never know what happens going in, but it's another one of those cliche moments where, like, we could go on for hours on end. But as I promised, it is something of a real gift. That is this thing called time. I always look at it as the sands of time. Everybody's got, you know, some sands of time that are just like fleeting away. And you choose how you go about spending it. You didn't have to be here tonight, but you chose to share this time with our audience. And for that, I am incredibly grateful, because beyond anything else, I understand that, you know what, all we have is time. And I'm incredibly grateful to you for sharing this time with us. It's an honor and a thrill. For those of us who want to connect with you and follow up, maybe, you know, reach out, just say hi, or, you know, just further more information on your programs and, you know, your coaching coaching programs and such, can we connect with you, or whether on the Facebooks or the interwebs?
Absolutely. So let me go and share some of my handles. Well, we got the Facebook. People could go into Djimy Rouzard, aka Coach D. That's my official Facebook page. I also have my official Instagram page, which is Djimy Rouzard. Djimy with a D, D-J-I-M-Y. And the D stands for dedicated, disciplined, devoted, and all the good stuff. So Djimy, they could reach out to me, or they could simply send me some quick email to info@djimyrouzard.com. calm.
I
Very
will
simple.
definitely make those handles available on the blog post when this goes live. We do have a running tradition on the podcast. Just before signing off, what I like to call the next step. You know, it's kind of not putting you on the spot, but it's kind of reaching out, as we always like to make steps actionable as the last word. Whether a book, daily practice, daily mantra, drink more water, a recommendation, a sonnet, anything that you think that any one of our listeners, anyone listening to this, can wake up tomorrow and use it as a next step towards their next level. Is there anything you can leave the listeners with?
Sure, absolutely. I would like to encourage people, and it could be a daily practice. It could be something that you try, but it's very simple. It's to breathe. Take time to breathe in the morning. Once you wake up, I simply want you to take 3 deep breaths. Connect with your breath and take these 3 deep breaths, because breath is life. Breath is life. And by inhaling, I want you just to inhale who you are, the greatness in you. I want you to inhale that. It sounds probably like a very simple exercise, but it could do so much. I have plenty of others, but that would be something that I would, send out to anyone listening, including your wife, when she goes about in the morning and, I got this to do. This is something that I actually tell my daughter when she's like speeding up. I said, hold on. I said, take 3 deep breaths. Amazingly, she starts slowing down. Daddy, I wanted to, there you go.
Recalibrating.
There you go.
That is key.
Breath is essential.
Wow.
It's life. So inhale life every morning. And just, by inhaling life, eventually you will also inhale gratitude and feel grateful for that breath.
Wow.
Eventually. But start with that.
I am so emotionally charged right now. I can't even begin. This is very sincere. Brother, it is, again, it's a privilege. I said it.
Thank you.
It's a privilege. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. You do know you have a brother in me. This is the kind of conversation that I want to have, that I want to keep having and sharing out into the world. And it's people like you that we're privileged, that we need to be thankful for every single step, every single connection that we make, whether small groups like the DAC group or even outside into the community, for all the great work that you do. I want to say a very heartfelt thank you for everything that you do. And from this corner of the world to yours and going further into the universe, I want to say thank you and bless you for all the work that you do, man. Thanks so much for being on the podcast today.
Thanks to you. And I'm I'm grateful as well for this platform, for your wisdom. Thank you.
Guys, another episode of Awaken the Awesome in the can. Please connect with my guest, Djimy Rouzard. I will have those links and those handles available in the blog post once it goes live. Thank you so much for being part of the mission, part of the journey, part of the message. And you know where to find the podcast, as always, on all the platforms, all that wonderful stuff. Guys, as always, stay blessed, stay safe, and as always do, stay awesome. This has been another episode of the Awaken the Awesome podcast. We always love to get your feedback, so please do drop us a line via Instagram, Facebook, or email. Our email address, awakentheawesome@gmail.com. Do visit our official website at awakentheawesome.ca, where you can find our entire back catalog of episodes and incredible guests. Also, if you haven't already, please hop on over to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, give us a rating, and leave us a review, as this helps us tremendously in growing this podcast and spreading the word to more awesome listeners like you. We always appreciate your support, and thank you for listening. Stay awesome.